Hey pals, welcome back to the Mel K Show. I am Mel K here in Manhattan with my partner Rob Greeley. How's it going, Rob?
Well, it's freezing here in New York, but hopefully we're coming through the 10 days of darkness. But we will not know until we see some light at the end of the tunnel. So right now, I'm just settling in for a cold few days. I guess we're having a snowstorm coming up on tomorrow night into Monday. So that's always fun to walk around in the snow.
Just in time to help the restaurants.
Yes. Well, we do have a gift coming to us. Our illustrious or governor is opening up the restaurants to 25% on Valentine's Day because he loves us so much.
But why
But
not today?
well, he doesn't love us that much. Um, and then he said, you can get married a month later
Right,
because I guess they're going to be opening up larger venues to
in
150
March,
people
yeah.
or more, March 15th.
Yeah.
And you were telling me, and I didn't even see that, but he's now maybe he's going to create this engagement ring, like an I love New
Yes,
York.
he's creating he says he's thinking about creating a special edition New York I Love New York engagement ring with a heart, an official I Love New York engagement ring with a heart and that it commemorates the people we lost during COVID, even though none of it was his fault. So, that's
And that can
can't
all be
make it
bought.
up.
That can all be bought on his website. You can also buy a miniaturized replica of his mountain. You can
Right.
get
Yeah, and a
the
14
poster. You can get the poster, and you can get the
$14
book
poster book.
and the book.
He's really made out like a bandit during
Yeah.
the COVID, hasn't he?
Yeah, I wish we were as good as monetizing. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, this guy is nuts.
No, it's really
Anyway, it's
insane.
crazy. It's so funny. It's extraordinary. But what's not funny is what they're doing to our kids. And I know we wanted to talk a little bit about that because there was a big article in the Post, and it was just a bunch of snippets of information that people have sent in. And I know that I've had my own experiences with. I have a child, and I have a nephew and cousins and friends' kids, and so I know you wanted to talk about that too, because mental health is a big part of your
Yeah,
mission.
it is. Well, really, what I wanted to say is that there's a lot of talk going around with some of these people and these teachers unions and different many teachers unions are funded by left-wing activists and progressive groups. And a lot of teachers unions, including Chicago's teacher union, are refusing to go back to school. And they're saying that wanting to go back to school or worrying about teen suicide, this particular president of Chicago's teachers union says that it's white privilege and racist to want children to go back to school or to bring up that suicide is a reason. He is joined by Scott Wilson of the Washington State Association of Educators, another left-wing group that says that worrying about student suicides and lockdowns above worrying about teachers getting COVID is a sign of white privilege. The Chicago school board, same thing. We're seeing the New York school board. These are the unions, teacher unions, not school boards. Also joining in that going back to school is too dangerous for the teachers, and they don't really have any interest in teaching kids anymore in person. And basically, we are dealing with something that is very, very dangerous because what is going on first is that experts are saying, and this is all over the country, that the perfect storm right now during the lockdown for teen suicides is out of control. And this lockdown has caused a youth mental health crisis epidemic during the pandemic. Most people don't know that suicide between 16 and 19 is the highest, second highest cause of death in teenagers. But during the pandemic, it has become the first. And second, another thing is that during the COVID lockdown, this is crazy, biggest cigarette sales spike in 15 years. On top of that, more people have relapsed on cigarettes and other drugs and alcohol than ever before during any period. And now we're dealing with these teachers, parents are starting to really get a look at what's being taught in schools. And there's one father that really spoke out recently. He really touched me with what he was saying. And I wanted to kind of say to you guys, look at what your kids are learning, because this is all over the country. And you know, not only are these lockdowns causing a suicide epidemic and among teens and also young children. We talked earlier about another child who he was just on the verge of his 13th birthday when his father found him hanging in his room. He had no mental health issues or anything before the lockdown. So it's just really getting to a point where, what is this about? You know, Donald Trump said the solution can't be worse than the cure. I mean, the solution can't be worse than the illness. And these solutions are not working. They're saying over 2 million children in the United States, adolescents during this lockdown, have been diagnosed with mental illness. The numbers for suicidal ideation have skyrocketed. And it's mainly because they are losing their interaction with their peers. They're not doing sports. They're not going outside. They're isolated. They are financial pressure with parents, and emotions with parents are growing, and it's affecting children. Children have anxiety about the future. They're watching the Fear on TV and buying into it. Also, a lot of children spend hours in front of the computer. Computer gaming is off the charts. It says 1 in 3 students this year reported persistent sadness. 1 in 5 contemplated suicide. You know, it's gotten to the point where we are really dealing with a traumatic situation, and our mental health in America is already terrible. But these kids are being, you know, basically isolated. And, you know, there is a lot of negligence and abuse out there in homes. And some children that are really, really in danger are being locked up with their abusers, or in that situation. Also, things affecting children are masking, social distancing, avoiding playing just with neighbors, the constant anxiety and fear that they're getting from, you know, even interacting online. So now we're at a place where we have to look at what our kids are learning. And this teacher said that he was worried about what was going on and what his kids were learning in New York. So anyway, the Post went in and did a review of his case. His 5-year-old son came home in kindergarten telling his father that he was studying a famous teenage transgender girl in school. Her name was Jazz Jennings, who I guess has become famous for transitioning as a 12-year-old, it looks like, and has had 3 transgender reassignment surgeries. He knew that the school was liberal. It's in New York City. The Department of Education has really taken a turn. They're really pushing the racial agenda and the LGBT agenda, but his son was 5 years old and he didn't think that that was right. He complained. They rebuffed him. Then his son came home a little later with pink and blue toys and a little pouch, and the pouch said pink and blue is for everyone. And he had gotten them from the teacher during a gay rights talk in 2018. Son and daughter, both from the same elementary school, started getting speeches in class about that their parents were the problem. And they were given books like Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow, and Ibrahim X. Kendi's book, who's a big guy that's going around making billions, teaching that America is racist and white privilege and all of that. He has a book called How to Be an Anti-Racist. Well, these books were given out in this elementary school in New York City. And when this father went through them, it said that the white people had put drugs into the Black community, and that the white people are responsible, and that they're actively pushing that if you're white, you're a racist to little children in elementary school in New York City public schools. There's very little room for racism because it's very integrated. So he complained again, but backed off. And then now, you know, New York City schools are now abolishing testing and competitive classes for gifted children because there aren't enough Black children that are passing the tests. So he is also fighting back, saying, well, why are they lowering the bar for everyone? which is basically it's racist against Black people. Why not just increase the education resources and other things? But no, now all kids, gifted kids, will no longer, it appears in New York City, have any classes for them. And then he filed again. His daughter's seventh grade. She got material how Blacks are being persecuted. Another book of this Kendi, stamped an anti-police book, and she got books against police also called Children of Blood and Bone and Ghost Boys. She also, her high school, middle school, banned Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter and F. Scott Fitzgerald's Great Gatsby, saying that they were racist and white supremacist books. In a math class, his daughter was told that white people voted for Trump because they want to hold on to their white privilege. And if your parents voted for Trump, you're a racist. This was in a math class. His young son came home, said that he thought that Christopher Columbus enslaved people and took all the resources and didn't care about them because he was discovering trade routes for Asia and wanted to enslave people. So this guy's a pretty alarming report about what's going on.
I can tell you, I've seen all of this. I mean, my son came home, maybe it was a year ago or maybe less, and there was something he had to. He was asked by the teacher, how does he like his pronouns and whatever, and he was like, I don't know, just normal,
Yeah, well,
like,
they're trying to change normal.
Like
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know, I guess I'm a he,
Right.
So what they're trying to do is they're creating this thing that isn't there. They're creating this division, and it's confusing, and it's very and the parents are now seeing it, and they really have to pay attention because this is a very, very slippery slope, and this is absolutely a Marxist agenda.
Right. I agree. And what we're seeing on top of that is the teachers' unions are being exposed as absolutely not caring about children or teaching. The whole teaching push about 20 years ago that was kind of, I guess, expanding to get more teachers to come in. They apparently have really leaned towards hiring teachers that are more activists than teachers. So we have the high suicide rate among children 6 to 18 from the pandemic and the lockdown. We have kids got glued to their computers for schooling, yet the schooling is all about activism and really pushing the white privilege thing. Now with Obama in there, with Biden in there, and probably Obama too, they're really pushing this racial injustice, and they're even now calling it environmental injustice, is climate change and all of this, and it's really affecting our children. And we really need to be speaking up and going into our school boards and, in peaceful ways. We used to be able to say something, but I think that now anyone that says anything about this, again, biology, Biden goes in right away. He makes transgender athletes, boys, able to compete against girls, taking away, a lot of girls' only chance to go to college or to succeed or to achieve their dreams is in female sports, but that's no longer a priority. So the teachers' unions are controlled by the leftist progressives. Many of them are funded in part by Gates and Soros, different NGOs and stuff. And it's really getting very dangerous for our children.
I think it was it's an unbelievable strategy that they started decades ago. Wasn't it, right, like the Frankfurt group that came over here and basically infiltrated the education system to start this Marxist agenda, which it's the same thing as when the Nazis came over and they got into the sciences and technology. Right. So the same thing happened in education, and now it's filtered all the way down to elementary school and pre-K.
Right.
The way that they're exposing kids to just very age inappropriate
well, they're just exposing them. Yeah, they're exposing that they don't care about the children. When I was a kid, I'm lucky my mom was a teacher for 35 years, loved her students, loved school, put so much into it. And that's not what's happening anymore. And we all know that the COVID doesn't really affect children. These teachers don't want to go back because they don't want to go back. And they're online. I believe that there's a lot of money involved in this online schooling at home. I've done shows about it before, how the Gates Foundation is funding a lot of this homeschooling. You know, they already took on Common Core and dumbed our kids down to there. But the Gates Foundation is a lot involved in the schooling. So do other people, Cisco, Google, a bunch of places. And they're taking our kids' data, they're creating files on our children, and at the same time, they're indoctrinating them. And again, we've talked before about the UN Lucis Trust and their 10 rules to a one world order, which we are in the middle of right now, if nobody's realizing it. And a whole big part of it is about separating children from their parents through education, activism, and this type of thing. And we're in it now, and we really need to like figure out as a group and as a coalition of like caring humans who love God and country and family and children, like what to do here, because our children are being hijacked by a progressive left that truly is exposing themselves during COVID as not caring about our children. And we really need to figure something out, because it's becoming a serious issue.
Yeah, and you notice, I mean, as we become more open to seeing what's really going on, for instance, a lot of the celebrities and stars and entertainers whose kids get emancipated, who are, all over the place on gender, and all of that is really part of the programming. People have to understand that all of this is programming, and the programming is to divide, destroy, and conquer. And so I guess what the way I try to deal with it is I'm very active with my son, and trying to give him kind of the bigger picture and understand where some of this stuff might be coming. And I encourage all parents to be very vigilant about what goes on with their kids' schooling.
Right,
Sure.
because kids are being affected more than people are admitting. Now, if we want to go into some of the some of the
Crazy new rules.
crazy news. Um, let's see. So, Biden's White House, good news. Conservative journalists and anyone working for a paper unapproved, Biden's White House is now considering and putting together legislation and other forms of I guess they're going to be working with the White House press corps. They are all out going to probably ban conservative news outlets from the White House press briefings. They are also going to get rid of anyone that they consider being conspiracy theorists. That includes OWN. It includes Newsmax. It includes anyone that they
Look, it's, you know what it is? It's just opposition. Anyone who doesn't toe the party line, they can call it whatever they want. The conspiracy theorists, they can call it conservative, they can call it libertarian, they can call it whatever. None of those labels matter. If you don't fall in line, they don't want to hear from you. And it's getting worse. I mean, they really want to shut you down.
After all the abuse Kayleigh got and Trump with all his press conferences, that they're pulling this is just another sign that we're dealing with totalitarianism 101. It's just getting crazier and crazier. Also, left-wing activists, again, NGOs that are funded by left-wing progressive groups, they are forming a database to profile and target organizations that hire any former Trump White House officials or people who worked for the Trump campaign. This group called Campaign Against Corporate Complicity, which I am sure we can trace to some of the less reputable NGOs that are sponsored by some of the worst human beings around. They say that government service does not guarantee private employment. In fact, it should not. Any business and every business in America should not reward the behavior of any Trump administration with the well-oiled revolving door that traditionally spins open after a transition. The new group intends to trigger digital lynch mobs, so they harass companies that hire any former Trump administration officials. The Campaign Against Corporate Complicity is being set up by a joint project of Accountable US, trace that back to the usual suspects, and American Oversight. They will laser focus on punishing anyone involved in any immigration enforcement, from Trump's strong border policies, especially Chad Wolf, Kristen Nielsen, Kellyanne Conway, David Bernhardt and Stephen Miller atop their list. They believe these people should never be able to work again, nor feed their families, nor have any futures because they disagree with their policy on immigration. They're saying as people leave government, we expect them to show up at the doorsteps of corporate America, but these people do not reflect corporate values. If companies hire these senior level officials from the Trump administration, it undermines and violated the rule of law, which he never did. They are complicit in cruel, undemocratic, and dangerous policies and rhetoric of his administration. Can you imagine how tone deaf these people are that they're putting out statements like this as if it's not them doing that?
You
It's
know,
just,
right, historically, there's been a revolving door of a lot of these
yeah, military.
progressives that come in and out of the Fed and Treasury and Goldman Sachs in and out. I mean, it's been extraordinary, and you look at it and you're like, this is clearly inappropriate. And now what they're doing is they're just turning it all around and they're
Right.
shutting it down, just like they're trying to make it legal to fix an election. And now they're also with
Putting
that
in HR1 to make it legal forever, to never have a fair or legal election ever again.
right. And then they have this new Domestic Terrorism Act, which we talked about the other day, which we don't like to talk about too much, but they've brought on their arbiters, right?
Right.
The NGO related to the Open Society, right? So now we're
Right.
going to have the absolutely, most despicable people on earth
Oops,
deciding,
yeah, I'm
oh,
trying to get rid of that. Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, because what I was just pulling up right there, which I just still don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out, is that it's becoming more and more clear that this what happened at the Capitol on the 6th was pre-planned by left-wing progressives, and that it was known about days before. This was really just another attack, honestly, on we the people. And I believe this will come out before they actually try to pull off impeachment, which would expose it, obviously. But again, I mean, we have to find solutions because we the people are being attacked on every level. And even if right now it's the Trump supporters or whatever they want to say. I mean, Rob, weren't they even saying that the guys that were doing the GameStop thing with Reddit, that they're alt-right Trump supporters and that they're domestic terrorists? I mean, they're saying
Anyone
that about the guys that tried to play Wall Street's game the way Wall Street plays it. The average
anyone who
Joe.
who speaks out against their narrative, anyone who is successful or even tries to rally some sort of an effort against their narrative, all of a sudden they're racist, they're white supremacists. This is
I don't even know what it
absolutely,
means at this point.
I don't either. It's ridiculous. But all of these things are massive, massive red pills, and we've been talking about that a lot.
I hope
Um,
so.
yeah, I mean,
Because
there's no question about it. I mean, I've seen it myself in the last few days where I find that I'm having a lot more in common, if you will, now that the election is over and whatever, people kind of settled in. But then some of these ridiculous things come up. And because I had spent some time in the finance world, this is a big one.
right.
People need to really understand that this Robinhood, which I picked up something from Dave at X22. He shared something and I thought it was interesting. But Robinhood was this free app that kind of was targeted to millennials so they could trade for free. But what he was saying is that what people don't understand is that there is nothing for free, like Facebook, like Google, like, Twitter, all of these things for free. What they're doing is they're mining our data. And the
Right.
Robinhood game is an even bigger game because now you're dealing with multi-billion-dollar hedge funds that what they do is they buy the data and they're able to trade, which is basically front running on that data. So they get in a few milliseconds before they trade it against that data, and it provides them with a huge advantage over a lot of different trades. I saw this when we went to electronic trading and all the big trading shops moved their servers closer to where the trades were actually happening so they would have a few millisecond advantage. And then they started buying certain data sets so you could buy like the Reuters feed, and if you spent whatever it was, 10,000 a month instead of 1,000 a month, you'd get it, 5 milliseconds before, whatever the number is, but they would get it before. So they always had a way to insulate themselves from a certain amount of risk. And
Right.
now that the people are standing up, they're opening their eyes, and this is waking up a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, this and also, what happened now? So Elon Musk got involved. He criticized Biden's SEC and Janet Yellen and people getting involved in this, and he was cheering on the little guy investors that were going out there and playing, Wall Street at their own game, and didn't like that. Apparently, the White House and SEC were with Yellen, who has been very involved with the company behind this. So Elon Musk spoke out, and boom, today they announced that the FAA is going to investigate Tesla and SpaceX for discriminating against non-American or illegal hiring illegals. That they got a complaint that SpaceX is discriminating in hiring. Well, that came just a day after Elon Musk supported this investigation into why the SEC and all of this, the White House were getting involved. Also,
Well, also, yeah,
Mhm.
who was involved, evidently, this Jen Psaki, who's the new press secretary, who was
Yeah, she should
prior
be for Brennan.
under,
Yeah,
Brennan's press secretary, right?
during
I guess
Obama.
I guess her husband works at this firm called Citadel Capital, which is a massive hedge fund. And Citadel and this Point 72 Capital, which is which used to be something called SAC Capital, Stevie Cohen, the guy who bought the Mets recently, he
Right.
he had to basically shut down his fund a few years ago because there were some nefarious things going on there, but he kept, walked away with his billions, and now he's reconstituted himself. But they put a 2.75 million into this platform, I think this Robinhood platform, to help it kind of stay afloat. And
Right.
so all of these people are
They're
connected, and
always
it's
connected.
always connected.
Right.
So
And this is he's bringing back all the Obama people. Yellen on top of it. She's all involved in this too. And they want her to recuse herself because she's taken plenty of money, but she's also taken, we saw the numbers of the amount of money she's taken. She ran the Fed, which is a private, as far as I'm concerned, fraud on the American people. And now she is all involved in this in many different ways. And as for Jen Psaki, who was one of the main spokespeople during Obama, and very tight with Brennan and all the people that turned the hammer on us. She has come out and said that the federal cops will work with leftist NGOs. If you don't know what that is, non-government organizations are not audited nor overseen by anyone. Basically, it's all of Soros's networks, Clinton Foundation, Gates Foundation, Bloomberg, all these people, they own these NGOs. Well, apparently the federal cops will be joining with the NGOs, many connected to the Open Society of George Soros, to perform threat assessments on domestic extremists of all kinds. They will not disclose what NGOs, but I can assure you it's going to be people connected to the Atlantic Council, the CFR, Open Society, most likely Rockefeller Foundation, all the usual suspects that are pushing us towards the brink of giving up America to the globalists. And now they are going to be deciding who can speak, who cannot, and pushing for people to be called domestic extremists and ruining their lives, which gives them unlimited power. So that's now happening.
it's really terrible when you take away people's ability to think freely, be creative, express themselves. You suppress really all progress,
Right,
and it becomes that's exactly what they want. So
right.
I think that's what people are seeing this, and
I
like I
hope
said,
so. I mean,
I
I wonder at what
they
point
are.
we're going to start. My thought's always been the entire campaign against Trump, all the witch hunts, hoaxes, everything, is to cover up their own crimes. I mean, today we find out that Maxine Waters' daughter has gotten over $1 million in campaign cash over the last few years. She's been selling, I guess, her mother's endorsement to other campaigns, and makes money. So she's gotten millions of dollars. Basically, again, we're talking that Schumer, he apparently used with Schumer's dark money group, spending skyrocketed by 825% in the 2020 election. So his thing is the Senate Majority PAC. They received 47.8 million in dark money to aid with recapturing the Senate, but that is way more than ever before. And he has two PACs, Majority Forward and Senate Majority PAC, and none of the money, again, is traceable. This is dark money. A lot of it is given through these NGOs, another 62 million. Basically, it's all anonymous election cash. And it says right here in the Free Beacon that 2020's election cycle, it went up by 825%. And don't forget, Black Lives Matter, when you donated, or Antifa, when you went online, they circled you back to, what was that called, Rob? That went right to
Act Blue.
Act Blue, which then distributed the money to these different PACs and funds and to the Joe Biden campaign. So all kinds of funny money involved there. Then we find out that Nancy Pelosi and her husband make a huge buy in Tesla just after they were made aware that Joe Biden was going to demand that all federal cars are electric. So that's a shady thing.
You know,
too.
we've known about this a long time, where a lot of these senators and Congress people were basically insulated from insider trading, which never made sense to me.
Right.
And we were, not we, the American people, a lot of people were trying to get that fixed, because when you're making laws and you're buying and selling stocks, you know what's going to help a railroad or an airline or, a car company.
Right.
And she says, well, I didn't know, what my husband was doing. I mean, that's a load of what.
Yeah, but I mean, Feinstein, just 2 days ago, we found out that her family is big stocks. Blum, her husband, big purchaser of these polling companies that have that were skewing the polls and everything. Now, also, I guess we're at a point where we want to figure out, what can we, the people, do? Left, right, center, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian. I think everyone's kind of looking around being like, what is happening? 40 executive orders that no American citizen, no representative, no senator, no congressperson has even opined about are being written into law by somebody who seems to not really be there. Time after time, we're seeing Joe Biden's dementia on full display. So I have a couple suggestions. Judicial Watch has been working tirelessly, more than anyone else I've seen, basically trying to get the truth out there about a lot of stuff. And for 4 years, we had these concocted total lies about Donald Trump and his family, when we really do have Joe Biden and his family. I have a lot of dangerous connections. They're right now criminal defendants in a case of $700 million of stolen taxpayer money in the Ukraine. This Hunter Biden's laptop is horrendous. It still has been hidden. I saw a lot on it. The fact, if he's not in jail, I don't know how that's possible, but we really need to find out. Also, the truth is that, I guess Judicial Watch is putting together a petition at change.org, but then we found out yesterday that the White House under Biden are removing the petition pages on the White House website.
Wow.
So we're not going to be able to do that anymore. But Judicial Watch is asking the Department of Justice to immediately appoint a special counsel to investigate the Biden family's dealings in China, Ukraine, and other countries. There's substantial evidence, documents, witness statements, Biden family information, laptops, digital recordings, including Joe Biden, James Biden, Hunter Biden, and criminal activity in the Ukraine and China and other places. And apparently they are completely ignoring them and have taken down the petition page that a lot of people have used to at least feel like they had a voice. And so I wanted to tonight kind of end it on, we the people are going to have to get together and figure this out on our own. This is our country, and we the people have rights. And Thomas Jefferson in 1776, our amazing founding fathers who were amazing humans. As last week, Joe Biden said, the 1776 project is full of falsities and backwards and all this stuff, and it's not true. This country was founded by amazing humans who just wanted freedom. They wanted to govern themselves. They wanted away from the king and away from dictators. They wanted to raise their families the way they saw fit. They wanted to worship the God that they chose, and they came across and they built the first 13 colonies.
That was not an easy journey.
No,
that was fraught with risk. And I think that's one thing, and I'm a little interjecting here, but we have to understand that freedom does have a price, right?
Right.
So
And
we
these
need to,
guys paid it for us not even 300 years ago.
right.
And we can't sit here and watch communist China and the United Nations One World Order take it from us because Joe Biden is completely compromised by them. And somebody is, I mean, right and left, people are watching this and they are starting to be like, who is controlling Joe Biden? Because this is not the man that we've seen for 47 years. It's not him. And if it is him, these aren't, and none of what he's doing is reflective of anything he's done in the past, except for his loyalty to the one world order and globalists and China. But when it comes to what he's doing to the American people, this is, it's completely obvious that this is leading us towards communism, socialism, and the one world government, which is being run through the UN right now and the Chinese Communist Party. And we're letting down the Chinese people too. And him going back in the deals with Iran and messing up all the Abrahamic Accords, we're hurting the Iranian people too. This is a whole world that is being gaslit and destroyed by watching what is going on in America. If Putin says at Davos in his opening speech that it looks like 1933 Germany here, we better pay attention because they know, and we're being gaslit and drug to a precipice that we may not come back from. So anyway, I just wanted to say real quick, Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence wrote, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and the nature of God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. It is in their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guides for their future security. So that's in our Declaration of Independence. And I think we all need to think of it in that way, because it's clear that our government on both sides no longer is taking into account what's best for we the people, our children, our families, our futures, and our security, most of all. Our security is being threatened on every level. We have NGOs, we have billionaire class oligarchs, we have this bloodline family cabal that has been running the banks and leaving us all over the world in debt slavery. We, the people, are this country, and the government no longer works for us. It is no longer allowed to, we can no longer allow them to spend our money. They sent $700 billion. They're sending $700 billion overseas during a pandemic, while we, the people in America, are suffering. Our businesses are closed. They don't care about us. They're ending our pipeline, which means they're ending our security to oil and gas. They're attacking American citizens as enemy combatants on here as domestic terrorists that don't agree with them. They set up a false flag at the White House to condemn 80 million people. What happened on the election day hopefully will come out. There is DNI Radcliffe's report. I have said many things that I believe have happened and are going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of military action that doesn't line up with that Biden is controlling the Pentagon. Whatever the case may be, we can't wait. We need to get together. Everyone, anyone who's watching this, themelkshow.com, we're getting it up and running. I'm getting back to everyone. I got it back to a lot of people today. But we need to remember these words of Jefferson. You know, he took a lot of pains to argue that revolution was a limited one, but in some senses, we the people have the right to say, we no longer trust our government to take care of us in any way. And I think we're there now. So, all those people that voted for Joe Biden just to get rid of Trump because they didn't like Trump, well, Trump's gone. Now what? Now we're allowing a totalitarian regime to come in, and all because right now the victims of big tech and Biden, and he brought in everyone basically back from the CFR, back from Wall Street, back from big tech. They're all working in his White House with him, I guess. And we're sitting here allowing this to happen, and we don't have to. So God
Well,
bless everyone.
I want to give a perspective on that because you know where we live, right? As far as what we think is going on.
Mhm.
And some of this stuff is so extraordinary that it pulls that emotion out of you, and it's so powerful because it's so ridiculous. It's such nonsense. And how could people not see this? So I believe, and I know you believe too, that all of this that we're seeing, all of this that we're saying is waking people up. And in fact, we may not have to do anything because our government may in fact be in control. And we are just watching a a puppet charade that is showing people what's been happening for so long because so many have been asleep because all the news that they consume in any way, shape, or form is molded in such a way that they're not able to see it. So now that has been broken open and people are starting to see the truth.
I
What can
hope
we do?
so. I
I know that, but I
Well,
know that
I don't want to, because I agree with you on a lot of this, but I don't want to concentrate on as much as what I do believe is going on with the military and with the executive orders and all that. I feel like we the people need to take this, look at our founding fathers and the truth about what really they were running from. They were running from tyranny. Just to finish this off, since it's in front of me, that Jefferson took plans to argue that the right of revolution was very limited in the sense that one could not do it for frivolous reasons. And this is why him and his colleagues that wrote the Declaration of Independence, they provided a long list of grievances against the British monarch in order to prove to the world that the reasons for revolution were serious, longstanding, and many to gain the support, which we can do right now. In essence, the grounds for revolution, he says, are the offending government had to have moved away from the very reason for its being, namely the protection of each individual's life, liberty, and property. Number two, that there is a clear pattern of behavior which proves that there is a design to create a despotic government over the people instead of for the people. In spite of these restrictions, Jefferson obviously thought both conditions had been satisfied in early July 1776, and therefore the right of the revolution was begun by the American colonists. So on that note tonight, guys,
well, I just want to say that what is this doing, right? We are focusing on our Constitution. We're focusing on our Bill of Rights. We're focusing on our founding documents that gave us, that built this great country. We're connecting with each other. We're seeing what's going on in the financial system. We're seeing what's going on in the educational system.
yeah, the Great Awakening is no joke.
It's no joke. It's not easy to go through. And look, I mean, we don't have a magic crystal ball that tells us everything that's going on, but we do have a great deal of confidence in where we're going. We don't know the timing and we don't know what's going to happen between then and now. But we are, I am fully convinced that this is so absurd that there must be some level of guidance and control
Yeah,
that our
I
military
agree, but
has.
I want everyone to be empowered at home, because the thing that I think was getting me down, that thank you so much for everyone that reached out after the last video. I was just being honest because, people like me are now being called domestic terrorists. And I'm really just a journalist and a researcher that loves our country and my fellow man and God. And now me and a lot of people that are really doing this for the right reasons are being threatened by our government, could be arrested for memes. First they took away but they got some guy, Trump supporter, who licked an envelope at a center, is being got arrested and is being called a bioterrorist. I mean, all I'm saying is we the people have rights and powers, and we have the Declaration of Independence, we have the Constitution. Our country isn't that old. we still can follow in the footsteps of these people that the left and these anarchists and the Democrats have demonized as bad people. They're not bad people. They want it what we all want: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And our government is turning on us every day. And if right now you're cheering on all these executive orders and you're watching it with glee because it's not Donald Trump, you really need to look in the mirror, because we're all going down if we don't fight back. And I believe we are fighting back. I do believe that there's people behind the scenes that are definitely going to be fighting back. But I really think it's time for personal responsibility and to get some good people running and get these swamp creatures on both sides out of DC and shut DC down. You know how I feel about it, and I feel about the corporation and all of it. But I just want we the people to be empowered. So look up the Declaration of Independence. It's a fascinating read. And look up the Bill of Rights, and then look at what's going on and ask yourself, do we the people consent? Because if we the people don't consent, we can end it. So anyway, good night, guys. I hope it wasn't too heavy. I'm just really trying to find ways to stay positive, give hope, but also I don't want to feel, and I don't want any of you to feel, and I hope you don't, that we're stuck. We're not. We have resources and ways to get together and to organize. We are not a violent movement. I have never been violent in my life. If anything, I'm the opposite. I'm wimpy. But I do believe in God, country, freedom, and family. And that's what motivates me. So do your own research. And if we can come up with ideas, I mean, maybe there's ways to connect locally with people, with like We the People groups or something, where people learn about their rights, because these people in Washington with this weird leadership of this Biden, whatever is going on with him, is incredibly dangerous. And now Eric Holder's back on the scene. Obama's people are all back in there. Brennan's back in there. Listen, we're going backwards, and we don't want to go there, because there's so much that still is yet to be revealed. So anyway, God bless us all. God bless America. Thank you everyone for stopping by. Our Telegram show group is doing awesome. Everyone's really great. Yes, there's shills and crazy lunatics, but you know what? I've just had to learn that that's part of the game. I know what I'm doing, and I know it's for the right reasons. And I know all you guys are true patriots and awesome people. And we look forward to the next one. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Patriots. And I just wanted to say that, yeah, absolutely. We are here for the right reasons. We love all your support, all the emails and all the support that we're getting is just, it makes such a difference. And it's really helping us move forward. We are trying to just help give people an outlet and give ourselves an outlet so we can talk about these things that are so important to our friends and our family and our country. And we love you all, and we can't wait to see you again very soon. Have a great evening. Wish us luck with the snowstorm. We'll let you know how it goes.
See you next time. Thanks.
Bye.